Okay, now see, uh, we have discussed opening stock. What is opening stock? The stock which you are having in the beginning of the accounting year. Then purchases. Purchases means purchases of goods in accounting, not the purchases of assets. And whatever goods you have returned to your suppliers, that will be called as purchase return. Can you tell me the another name of purchase return? What we call it? Another name of purchase return? Anyone? Reply in the chat box. Yes, very good. It is called return outward. Purchase return is also called return outward. Note it down uh, along with purchase return also. Now, can you tell me what we call purchase return? Now, send me the message in chat box. What we call purchase return? Purchase return, I am asking again. No, 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 Dildeep. That's why I am asking again. Yes, very good. Return outward. Send me message in chat box. Yes, very good. Very good. These are the terms which will confuse you in the questions. That's why I am discussing it. Okay, now next is wages. So wages we have discussed that it is the payment made to the labor. But the which labor? Labor which is directly involved with the production of, of the goods or loading or unloading of goods. In some way it should be directly connected with the goods. Only that part of wages will be here. So if it is written in the question wages, we will be assuming it as direct expense. We will assume that it is wages paid for goods. Wages and salaries, that I have already explained, that salaries is a very nominal part in this account. Wages part is more. So that's why wages have been put first. If we reverse it, it means that salary part is more in this amount and wages part is very nominal. And because it is nominal, that's why it has been combined with wages account. Sorry, salary account. So if it becomes salaries and wages, salary is indirect expense. Salary is not a direct expense. In the factory, we are paying wages. If somehow some salaries are there that we are paying to the factory staff, that will obviously come here. But in general, in the questions which you will be getting, you will treat it as uh, indirect expense, and it will go to profit and loss account. But wages and salaries, again, wages is a direct expense. That's why it will be treated as direct expense, and it will be written in trading account. Direct expenses, if question has simply given you any direct expense, that all direct expenses will be written in the trading account. Okay, one more question I should ask at this point of time. What type of balance expenses have? Debit balance or credit balance? Very good. If you don't know, you can put the message that sir I don't know, or sir or give the answer. At least try to increase your participation. In the chapter when we have done trial balance, I have told you which account has which type of balance. So according to that, try to recall. Yes, correct answer. Expenses have debit balance. Expenses have debit balance. Assets also have debit balance. Yes. So see, this is debit side. All the expenses are coming on the debit side of the trading account. All the expenses are coming on the debit side of trading account. Okay. Now next is carriage. What is carriage? Carriage is transportation. Carriage is transportation of what? Transportation of goods. And if question has simply given you carriage, so it will be assumed as carriage on purchases. So there are three terms which can be used in the question for that. Either it can be carriage, it can be carriage inwards, it can be carriage on purchase. So these three are same. These three are same. Then, yes, please, clear? Then if you are doing some production or some processing of goods, so you might be using gas or some fuel or some power in that process. Please keep on sending your feedback so that I should know that yes, you are listening and you are getting. So I have explained carriage, carriage on purchase, carriage inwards, gas, fuel and power, then freight and cartage. See, carriage is transportation of goods from out of the city. Cartage is transportation of goods within the city. If you are purchasing goods from a supplier who is sitting in your own city, so you will not be paying that much big amount of transportation, and you will not be hiring a such big a vehicle also. So that amount is paid is technically called cartage. Freight is another term used for carriage, transportation. So freight or freight inward or cartage, if such terms are also given in the question, these are also direct expenses. Then all the manufacturing expenses, whatever the expenses which you are incurring for the production of goods in factory during the whole production process, that are known as manufacturing expenses. So any manufacturing expenses given in the question are direct expenses. Like cost of raw material is direct expense. Then wages paid to the labor, direct expense. Then any uh, other amount like electricity bill of factory has been paid, that is also direct expense. Rent of factory has been paid, that is also direct expense. So all the factory expenses, all productive expenses or manufacturing expenses, almost their meaning is same. So these will be part of your trading account because these all are direct expenses. So now these three are also clear: manufacturing expenses, productive expenses, and factory expenses. Then dock charges or clearing charges. What are dock charges? If suppose you are importing the goods from any country, the goods will come first on the port, and there is an area where your goods will be kept secured, that is called dockyard. You might have heard this word. So port, whenever you will go to the port authorities demanding or claiming your goods, you will have to furnish some documents, some proof that these goods belong to me. Then second thing, the authorities will ask you the dock charges before before handing over the goods to you. For keeping your goods safe and proper in the dock, they will ask you the payment of some charges. So that is known as dock charges. So this is also a cost which is directly associated with the purchasing of goods. If you are purchasing goods from outside India, you are getting them imported. So then you have to pay these charges to the port authorities, dock charges and clearing charges. When you will get when you will pay your clearing charges and dock charges, only then you will be able to collect your goods from there. Same is the case if you are importing the goods. Government of India will also charge import duty on that. So that's why import duty is also a direct expense. Import duty is also an expense directly associated with the goods. And there are two types of custom duty. There are two types of custom duty. One is import duty and one is export duty. So when you are purchasing goods from another country and bringing them to your own country, that is import. So government of India will charge duty on that, that is known as import duty. And when you are selling goods, when you are exporting goods to some another country, at that time also government of India will levy the duty. So that will be known as export duty. So, but that is a selling expense. Export duty is a selling expense. That is your indirect expense. So that will not come to your profit and so that will not come to your trading account. Selling expense will go to profit and loss account. Okay, so there is a difference between import duty and export duty. Import duty is an expense on purchase and export duty is an expense on sales. So that's why we are recording here only import duty. Is that clear? And if somehow question has given you custom duty, both are custom duty, import duty or export duty, both are custom duty. But in case it is given in the question custom duty, that will also be treated as a purchase expense, that will also be treated as import duty. Then we will assume it as import duty. So I hope about charges, clearing charges, import duty and custom duty. This section is also clear. Then royalty. Royalty is what? Royalty is a payment made for using the product or invention of some person. Like you are using accountancy books. So the writer is Mr. D.K. Goyal or Mr. T.S. Grewal. So they have the copyright of this book. Copyright means the right of selling its copies. The right of selling its copies, because the book has been written by them, the right of selling its copies is with them. Now what happens? APC Publications or Sultan Chand and Sons purchases that right from the concerned writer, either from Mr. D.K. Goyal or from Mr. T.S. Grewal. So when they will be purchasing that right of selling its copies, at that time they have to make some payment to the writer, to the author. That payment is known as royalty. That payment is known as royalty. So now the meaning of royalty is clear. Similarly, if you are listening songs, the singer who has sung that song will get the royalty. He or she has the copyright of that song. So companies generally purchase that copyright from the singer, and after payment of royalty, they can purchase that right, and then they will be able to sell that song in the market. So that's why this royalty is also a direct expense. So now, in nutshell, it looks like a long list of expenses, and you might be having a confusion in your mind that how we will be able to learn so many things that we have never studied even. So it's simple. First thing is what? Opening stock. Then second thing is net purchases. Purchase minus purchase return. Then if you will brief out further expenses, one category is wages, one is carriage, one is gas, fuel and power. Then manufacturing expenses. Manufacturing expenses are having three categories: manufacturing, productive and factory. Then dock charges, import duty, royalty. So hardly 6-7 categories are there, but it makes a long list for understanding purpose or for writing purpose in the trading account. So now I hope it will be easily learned. If you are clear about the logic, there is no meaning of learning them, but it will help you in attending the question. That's why I'm giving you a little bit trick. Yes, please respond. Now next part is credit side of the trading account. Debit side of trading account is clear. Debit side of trading account is clear. Okay, now see the credit side of trading account. First account is by sales. So you have to remember the definition of sales. Can you tell me the definition of sales? Sales means sales of goods. Sale of assets is not called sales. Sales means sales of goods, and sales return means the goods which you have sold and then the customer has returned you back. It is called sales return. Can you tell me the another name of sales return? Can you tell me the another name of sales return? Yes, good. Sales return is known as, yes, very good, very good, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Those who are replying, I will appreciate them. They are giving correct answers also. They are participating in the class also. But those who are not replying, it's not good. Okay. So sales return is known as return inward. Return inward because goods are coming back to you. That's why it is called return inward. And when you are returning goods to someone, it is going outward. That's why purchase return is also called return outward. Okay. So sales minus sales return, what we call it net sales. Sales minus sales return, what we call it net sales. And purchase minus purchase return, what we call it net purchase. Now next point is closing stock. So whatever goods you are dealing in, you will be having some opening stock of that goods on the first day of your accounting year, as well as you will be having some stock of that goods on the last day of your accounting year also. Like suppose you are dealing in mobile phones. So on the last day of your accounting year, you will be having some mobile phones in your stock also. So that value of all mobile phones which you are having on the last day of your accounting year will be termed as closing stock. Now this is these are your incomes. Sales is your income, and these are your expenses. So this is expense side and this is income side. If income is greater than expense, what you will get? Tell me. If income is greater than expense, then what you will get? Profit or loss? It is a very simple question and I hope each and everyone can answer. My income is greater than my expense. Amazing that you can't tell if income is greater than expense, what you will get. Amazing. Yes, it will be profit. Good. And if my expense is greater than my income, if my expense is greater than my income, then it will be a loss. So now see, it is gross profit here. What will happen? I will put the total of income here. Whatever the total amount is here of these all incomes. Gross loss you will avoid. Gross loss will not be income. It is just because of some other reason. I will be explaining it. Then you will subtract these all expenses, and after subtracting these all expenses from your total income, you will get the gross amount, gross figure, gross profit. And same is the case if your expenses are greater than your incomes. Then first you will do this total of all the expenses. You will write this total here, and then you will subtract these incomes. You will get the gross loss. So if your expenses are greater than your incomes, then you will get gross loss. So because that's why it is written here, gross loss. To gross profit or to gross loss. Okay, can you tell me what type of balance profit has? Debit or credit balance? Profit will be having which type of balance? Yes, very good, very good. Yes, correct answer. It will be credit balance. Profit will be having credit balance. Very good. That means you remember the basic concepts. Because your credit side total is greater than the debit side, so this balance will be credit. Either, however, it has been calculated on the debit side, but the balance will be credit because it is here because of the reason that income is greater than expense. And gross loss will be having debit balance. Gross loss will be having debit balance. So this is for today. Complete it and practice it. Send me on WhatsApp whatever the formats you have made just now. Later I will not accept. Right now you have to send me on WhatsApp. Practice it today properly. Tomorrow we will do questions.